Hello students, this is Utkarsh Bhargav. In this lecture, I'm going to continue with the chapter number 6 of unit number 3 of class 11th economics. That is the part of Indian economic development. Till the last video, we are done with the sources of credit from the both formal and informal sector. And in today's lecture, I'm going to continue with that topic, but let's have a quick recap on the topics. Till the last video, we are done with the topic, the non-institutional sources of credit. Now, what are the non-institutional sources? Guys, these are those sources of credit, first, which are not registered with the government. Means, the government do not have any idea about such sources of credit. But yes, they operate on a very wide scale in India because people are unaware about the recent policies and programs regarding the availability of credit and the different sources of credit like the commercial banks, credit cooperative societies, regional rural banks, etc. So, still, a very big part of our population is dependent on this informal sector in order to get credit. The examples or the components of the non-institutional sources of credit were these. These are the traditional sources like the money lenders, related, traders, etc. And again, till the 1951-52, they contain almost a share of 94% in the field of money lending. The basic problem associated with the huge money lenders were that they charge very high rate of interest, exploit the people. They acquire land on the failure of payback to the loan. Means what happens usually is that if we get fail to pay back the loan, then usually banks provide us a span of time, a period. Means an ultimatum to pay back the loan. They don't acquire your collateral on the first moment. They usually provide us time. But such things does not happen with the local money lenders. If they want to acquire your land, which is given by you to them as collateral, if they want to acquire them, they will. They surely will. They can manipulate the accounts. They can change the account as their wish, according to their wish. Then trader commission agents, they also provide credit by mortgage, means in against of some collateral. Again, the problems associated with them is again, they charge very high rate of interest. They force farmers to sell their crops at a low prices. Then landlords also become an important source of granting rural credit. So landlords are really very popular personalities in the rural areas, and they often provide the credit, and they often known as the primary source of credit in almost every village in India. Now, some of the problems faced by the farmers are, the first is landlords charge very high rate of interest. Second, they exploit small farmers by manipulating the accounts. Simple. Then relatives also play a crucial role in the non-institutional source of credit. So they normally carry no interest or money is returned as per the requirement of the loan provider or after the harvest. So usually in this case, the lender is suffers a setback because your relative or your friend whosoever you have taken or you have given the loan, usually the creditor is at the back seat because debtor has the power. Usually debtors don't pay. Means, say your relative has taken money and he's just verbally promised this thing that I'll pay this amount back after 2 months, but now it's been 6 months and he is not picking up your calls. So in that case, now this is the most casual thing which happens. Mostly we can see this thing happening with every second individual who has given some money to his friend or the relative, that it's been a very long time, still they are not paying the money back. Now let us start with a new topic, guys. That is the agriculture marketing. Agriculture marketing is all about, in fact I have given a brief about this in the last video as well. Agriculture marketing is all about that from the farm to the kitchen. There is a long process. From the farm to the kitchen, there are the number of mediators. There is a long chain in between, and that chain works in order to supply eatables in the minimum period of time. This is what is agriculture marketing. Now, like everything, this also has its own pros and cons. Pros, as I said, they make the things available at the perfect time, and just because of them there is no need to suffer, there is no need to wait for any vegetable, for any fruit, or for any other eatable. But cons, if this chain widens, a lot of people entered in this chain, then the number of mediators would eventually increase. And that increased number of mediators would lead to what? Exploitation of both farmers and consumers. If the number of mediators in between increases, this surely means that the farmer would get a very low price for his produce, and the consumers would have to pay a very higher price. So if the farmer is getting a lower price and consumer have to pay a higher price, then what about the gap in between? Who's taking this gap? This whole gap is taken by the mediators. And this is the biggest con of this agriculture marketing. So, prior independence, Indian farmers were confined to subsistence farming. The farming level wasn't so big. They sold a very small proportion of their produce to pay old debts, meet other requirements of consumption. So means they were not producing in order to earn profit, in order to earn money, to earn their livelihood. They were simply producing first for the self-consumption. That look, I am producing in order to feed my family, in order to feed me, so that we can live a healthy life. And their secondary objective was that with the surplus stock, if something left, I would sell it, and firstly I'll pay my old debts, and then I'll start meeting my some other requirements, wishing means completing my wishes, like having a fan in my home or other appliances or something like that. So their primary objective was not to earn money, to earn profit. And I would give this credit to Britishers that they introduced commercialization in the agriculture in India. So many farmers, they got motivated from the Britishers. What they did, they encouraged farmers to produce for the mass production and sell your surplus to earn profits. They were forced to sell their produce at low prices as they had weak bargaining power. Now, initially, that happened with so many farmers that they were producing much, but just because they were not literate enough, they had weak bargaining power, they used to sell their produce at a very low price. They did not have the required information on the prevailing price. The information wasn't transparent on that time. They also did not have the proper storage facilities to keep back their produce for selling later at a better price. So they used to have their own warehouses. That is why they used to practice this, that the moment I am cutting my crops, I'm harvesting, at that same moment, if somebody comes and offer a lower price, then so many farmers are still there who would be ready to sell at that lower price, because there is no need to wait for any other thing or for any other trader. Even those who could take their produce to the wholesale market, who did have little knowledge about the organized market. So, even if somebody took his produce to the organized market, where possibly he'll get the reasonable price, that is also not there. Maybe just because of lack of information, he'll get exploited. All chances are there. So all this required an improved agriculture marketing system. So we needed some mechanism through which the produced good could reach different places. Agriculture marketing is a process that involves assembling, storage, processing, transportation, packaging, grading, distribution of different agriculture commodities across the country. So it includes everything from the simple assembling, processing, to transportation, to packaging, grading, distribution, and everything. Through this system, the farmers can sell their surplus at fair prices in the wholesale market. So if everything is transparent, everything is visible, everybody is allowed to get involved in the system, in that case, there will be a very lesser scope for the exploitation. Various market channels exist which help the farmers to sell their produce at the reasonable prices in the market. That now, just because of the radio, televisions, internet, mobile phones, things are more transparent. The information is now accessible to all. Means it's almost impossible to hide informations from people. Means especially after the internet, after the TV, mobile phones, things have become much easier for the government, for the NGOs to let the farmers know, aware, get proper information, and the most important thing, that now nobody can exploit them. Almost nobody can exploit them. So, after India got independence, government initiated the following measures to improve the marketing. First was the regulation of markets. So, they basically started constructing the regulated markets where government practice regular checks, regular checkups. They regularly check the price. They regularly check that whether somebody is hoarding eatables or not. And if somebody is storing something, then they must aware government about that, so that government can cope the problem of artificial scarcity. So nowadays the government is converting markets into the regulated markets where the government has control. Among so many things, government controls variety of things in the regulated markets so that they ensure the reasonable price for both buyers and sellers. Provision of infrastructure. As we know that this is one of the biggest challenge in the agriculture sector, that farmers, wholesalers, not wholesalers but basically farmers, they still suffers for good infrastructure. They don't have good warehouses, they don't have good banking system, they don't have good transportation facilities, they don't have so many things, especially in the field of infrastructure like roads. So like roads, railways, warehouses, godowns, cold storages, processing units, etc. So we need to improve this if we want our agriculture system to be developed. Cooperative marketing. What is that cooperative marketing? Cooperative marketing is basically, like I told you about this thing also, guys, that when there are so many farmers in a single village, then what they can possibly do that instead of this, that everybody is working on their own farms, they don't have contact with each other. What is the better possibility to increase the level of earnings for everyone? That if everybody is doing farming, then why don't they all unite with each other, make a kind of union, and allot the works to different people? Like if there is a bunch of 50 farmers, the whole committee is saying that, look, we are going to allot 45 farmers and there are 5 people who are like 5 people. One of them will handle the accounts, one of them will handle the transportation, one of them will go to the market and bargain the rates, one will keep all the information up to date, and one will purchase the fertilizers, pesticides, insecticides, seeds, etc. from the market. So what they have done, they have allotted works to the people, to the farmers basically. Instead of that everybody is just busy in their own farms. So उस केस के अंदर एक्सप्लॉयटेशन के चांसेस बहुत बढ़ जाते हैं. लेकिन अगर एक कंट्री, एक छोटे से विलेज में लोगों ने अपने ही बीच में काम डिवाइड कर लिए हैं, so that would help not only those farmers, that would help the whole system. So that is what about the cooperative farming. Then minimum support price. Minimum support price is the biggest help by the central government and the state government. The thing is this, that MSP is a price which is fixed by the government above the equilibrium for the safeguard of the interest of farmers. कि ये इक्विलिब्रियम से ऊपर, यानी कि जो आपका एक रेट होना चाहिए, इक्विलिब्रियम प्राइस होना चाहिए, उसके ऊपर गवर्नमेंट इसे सेट करती है ताकि प्रोड्यूसर्स का इंटरेस्ट मार्केट में बना रहे. Now this thing ensures a minimum price to the farmer, and that would reduce the possibilities of getting exploited by the private traders. Then next was the grading and quality control. What is that point? This is also a part of this agriculture marketing, that we divide various things, various eatables into different grades, into different qualities, and that thing would leads to higher earnings for the farmers. That what kind of product is actually produced by a farmer, what kind of quality the farmer has produced, it also leads to variation in their incomes. If we are unable to grade them, if we are unable to keep a quality control check, then that would not increase the earnings of the farmers who are producing a very rich product, a very rich, nutritious product. So that would lead to again good grading and standardization system. Now dissemination of information means information should not be limited to few people, it should be spilled over the whole community, district, state and country. I hope you all know about this thing, that government these days have started various campaigns, programs, in order to keep farmers aware about the latest policies and programs, so that nobody can exploit them, they can get the maximum benefit from the recent policies, and the most important thing, that they would live a healthy life, a safer life and a debt-free life. Because we all are all aware about the cases of suicides of the farmers. I guess the biggest thing is this, that they must not be aware about the basic policies of the government. If they knew about them, then they wouldn't take such kind of step. So the spread of market information will help the farmers in taking the decisions like what to produce, how much to produce, when to produce, where to sell, how to sell. That information would help farmers in taking all such decisions. Now let us talk about what are the problems of the agriculture marketing in India. The present system of agriculture marketing suffers from a number of defects. In spite of the measures taken by government to improve the marketing system, so even after taking so many steps, we still find a lot of loops in the marketing system of India. Now what are the possible loops? What are the major loops? Like the first one, as we all know that there is lack of transportation facilities. Still, so many rural areas are not connected with the major roadways and railways. There are no proper roads and transport facility to help farmers carry their produce to the organized markets, where they can sell and can get a fair price of their products. Hence, they forced to sell their produce at the village market at low prices. So, just because they don't have good transportation facility, they cannot bring their produce to the city markets where they can get a much higher price. So they are forced to sell their produce at the village market at very lower prices, just because they don't have the good transportation facility. Second, lack of regulated markets. Regulation of markets by government has benefited farmers as well as consumers. Regulated markets leads to its own benefits. However, these are still less in number. These are still very less in number. There is still a need to develop about 27,000 rural periodic markets as regulated marketplace to realize the full potential of the rural markets. So many markets are still there who need to be regularized by the government so that we can carry out their full potential. Now next is lack of infrastructural facilities. We don't have good infrastructure. That is the most basic thing, the basic problem of the Indian agriculture system, that we are still lacking with the very good infrastructure. Though provision of physical infrastructure like warehouses, godowns, cold storage, etc. has been made, still the present infrastructure facilities are quite inadequate to meet the growing demand and hence the need to be improved. Very simple. So, the case is this, that they are still focusing on the infrastructure development. Government are still focusing on this thing and they are still considering this as one of the biggest challenge. Then long chain of intermediaries. What is this long chain of intermediaries? The number of mediators from farm to the household. In between, if anybody is providing any kind of service, then they will be considered as the mediator. Now, if I'll ask you a simple question, if you are living in a metropolitan city, then you won't find any kind of farming activities near your house within the diameter of like 5, 7, 10 or 20 kilometers. You'll hardly find any kind of farming happening around you. But you are getting almost every vegetable on time in your kitchen. Then there must be somebody who is transporting those fruits, those vegetables, those spices, those flowers from the farms to your house. Now they are collectively known as the mediators. Now these mediators may lead to so many benefits, may lead to so many demerits, limitations. The thing is this, that if they contain their own benefits, that they provides us all the eatables on time, but they do contain a demerit that because of these people, our eatables become so expensive. If this number of mediator increases in between, then the eatables would become much expensive. So, long chain of intermediaries. Now there is a long chain of middlemen between the cultivators of the products and the ultimate consumers. All these intermediaries charge for their service, and hence the return to the actual cultivator falls. So whosoever is there who is providing his service as a mediator, they charge for their own service, which basically reduces the benefits of the cultivator and increases the prices for the farmers. So they just increases the price of the farmers. Fine. Now let us come to the next topic, guys, that is the diversification in agriculture. Now what is the meaning of this diversification in agriculture? I hope you all are aware with the problem of disguised unemployment. Now what is this disguised unemployment? It basically means, guys, that when the number of required people are much less than the number of people which are actually working in that particular space, on that particular position, on that particular land. So like, very simple example, that on a single piece of land in total 10 people are required. 10 people are required, but 25 people are working. This means that 15 people are actually employed, but they are actually unemployed. Because it seems that they are employed, but they are actually not. So this is also known as the hidden unemployment, very popularly known as the disguised unemployment. Fine. So this is the case. Agriculture is the backbone of Indian economy. Agriculture is the backbone of Indian economy. Major proportion of Indian workforce of the country depends on agriculture. We all know this thing. Depending exclusively on farming only for earning a livelihood is not sufficient. So if we are just depending on farming, then it may not be sufficient. Expansion of work areas is equally essential to explore new areas to work. If the government is thinking this, that look, farming is enough, it can absorb all the increasing proportion of populations, then they must be wrong. We must increase the number of working areas for those farmers so that they would not depend on only one thing in order to earn their livelihood. To increase the levels of income to overcome poverty. So वही अपनी income बढ़ाने के लिए, अपनी गरीबी को कम करने के लिए, they should not be focused on only one thing. Therefore, diversification in agriculture is required so that gainful employment for surplus labor can be located in the allied activities. So diversification बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है कि हम उनको दूसरी सोर्स ऑफ इनकम के बारे में बताएं और वो लोग एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर में जो इतनी भीड़ हो रखी है उन लोगों की जिनकी शायद जरूरत नहीं है, वो लोग अपने आप को किन्हीं और दूसरी एक्टिविटीज के अंदर इन्वॉल्व करें और वहां से पैसा अर्न करें. So, and other non-farm activities. The need for the diversification arises from the fact that there is a greater risk in depending exclusively on farming for livelihood. So, if everybody is depending upon the farming sector for the livelihood, it contains its own demerits. We all know this thing that the land is limited. If the land is limited, how can we employ all the increasing labor force in the agriculture sector? We must find some alternative way of earning money. We must find some alternative source of income, alternative occupations. Diversification towards the new areas is necessary not only to reduce the risk from agriculture sector but also to provide productive, sustainable livelihood option to the rural people. So, diversification कुछ ऐसा होना चाहिए कि जिससे एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर में जो बढ़ती हुई प्रॉब्लम्स थी वो कम हो, साथ ही साथ लोगों को ऐसा काम मिले जिससे वो सेटिस्फाई भी हों, ज्यादा लिटरेसी की जरूरत ना पड़े, एक अच्छी लिविंग जिससे जी जा सके, एक अच्छी लाइफ जिससे आपकी फैमिली, बच्चे सब पढ़ सकें, घर में जो रिटायर्ड लोग हैं, जो ओल्ड एज लोग हैं, उनका प्रॉपर खर्चा अफोर्ड कर सको. ऐसा ना हो कि खाली मैं एक या दो लोगों का ही खर्चा उठा सकता हूं उससे. सो नॉन फार्म एक्टिविटीज ऐसी हों जो प्रॉपर उनको एक अच्छी हेल्दी लाइफ डिलीवर कर सके. इंडिया में अगर कुछ नॉन फार्म एरियाज की मैं बात करूं तो जो सबसे पॉपुलर है वो है एनिमल हस्बेंड्री, पॉपुलरली नोन एज इन इंडिया इट इज नोन एज पशुपालन. सो क्या है ये एनिमल हस्बेंड्री? आपने भी ये वाली चीज एक्सपीरियंस करी होगी कि इंडिया में एनिमल हस्बेंड्री एक बहुत बड़ा बिजनेस है जिसके अंदर हम बात करते हैं सबसे पहली चीज ऑस्टिबल्स की, पोल्ट्री फार्मिंग की, जिसे हम बोल सकते हैं कि लाइफ स्टॉक यानी कि जिनमें जान है, हम उसकी एक तरीके से खेती कर रहे हैं. इन इंडिया द फार्मिंग कम्युनिटी यूजेस द मिक्स्ड क्रॉप लाइफ स्टॉक फार्मिंग सिस्टम लाइक कैटल, गोट्स, फॉल आर वाइडली हेल्ड स्पीशीज जिनका सबसे बड़े लेवल पर बिजनेस किया जाता है. लाइफ स्टॉक प्रोडक्शन प्रोवाइड्स इंक्रीज्ड स्टेबिलिटी इन इनकम, फूड सिक्योरिटी, ट्रांसपोर्ट, फ्यूल, न्यूट्रिशन फॉर फैमिली विदाउट डिस्टरप्टिंग अदर फूड प्रोड्यूसिंग एक्टिविटीज. सो ये आपको बहुत सारी चीजें प्रोवाइड कराता है. इनकम बिल्कुल कराता है, फूड सिक्योरिटी भी कराता है, ट्रांसपोर्ट इसलिए करा देता है क्योंकि अगर आप एक ऑस्टिबल चलाते हैं या ऐसी लाइफ स्टॉक का आप ट्रेड करते हैं, हॉर्स, जिस पर आप ट्रांसपोर्ट भी कर सकते हैं, जिसको एज मोड ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्ट भी आप इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, तो उसमें भी हेल्प कर देता है. एज फ्यूल, एवरीबडी नोज काउडंग केक्स कितने ज्यादा पॉपुलर है एज अ बेसिक सोर्स ऑफ एनर्जी। न्यूट्रिशन, भाई आपको उनसे मिल्क मिलता है, एग मिलता है। तो फैमिली को एक फुल न्यूट्रिशियस लाइफ आराम से डिलीवर करा सकती है एनिमल हस्बेंड्री। टुडे लाइवस्टॉक सेक्टर अलोन प्रोवाइड्स ऑल्टरनेटिव लाइवलीहुड ऑप्शंस टू ओवर 70 मिलियन स्मॉल एंड मार्जिनल फार्मर्स इंक्लूडिंग लैंडलेस लेबरर्स। तो लगभग आज की डेट में 70 मिलियन का मतलब आप मान के चलिए लगभग 7 करोड़, क्योंकि 1 मिलियन इज इक्वल्स टू 10 लाख, सिंपल। तो लगभग 70 करोड़ छोटे फार्मर्स, छोटे बड़े फार्मर्स को एक अच्छी लाइफ आज की डेट में प्रोवाइड करा रहा है। पोल्ट्री अकाउंट्स फॉर द लार्जेस्ट शेयर विद 55% फॉलोड बाय अदर्स। तो पोल्ट्री फार्मिंग इनमें सबसे बड़ा शेयर लेके चलती है, लगभग 55%, जिसमें मुर्गियां, उनके एग्स, इन सब की का ट्रेडिंग की जाती है, इन सब की खेती की जाती है। अदर एनिमल्स इंक्लूड कैमल्स, हॉर्सेस, एसेस आर इन द लोएस्ट रैंक, इनका भी लोग व्यापार करते हैं। मिल्क प्रोडक्शन इन द कंट्री हैज इंक्रीज बाय मोर देन 4 टाइम्स बिटवीन 60 to 2002। तो लगभग 4 गुना, क्योंकि इसमें व्हाइट रेवोल्यूशन भी आया, ऑपरेशन व्हाइट फ्लड बाय डॉक्टर वर्गीस कुरियन, तो उन सबका बहुत बड़ा हाथ था इसमें। सो एनिमल हस्बेंड्री। दूसरा फिशरीज स्पेशली नॉर्थ इंडिया में शायद इतना बड़ा बिजनेस नहीं है, लेकिन साउथ इंडिया में बहुत ही बड़ा बिजनेस है। कोस्टल एरियाज के पास तो इसका अपना बहुत वास्ट एक एम्पायर है, वहां पर लोगों की कंजम्पशन भी इसकी ज्यादा है। इन इंडिया, आफ्टर प्रोग्रेसिव इंक्रीज इन बजटरी एलोकेशंस and introduction of new technologies in fisheries and aquacultures, the development of fisheries has come a long way. So, क्योंकि अब सरकार भी इसके ऊपर बहुत ध्यान दे रही है, अपना बजट भी बढ़ा दिया गया है, टेक्नोलॉजी भी इसमें अब नई आ चुकी है, तो एक्वाकल्चर जो इस फील्ड का हम एक नाम देते हैं, अब वो बहुत बिजनेस आगे बढ़ चुका है। उसमें इन्वॉल्व जो बड़े बड़े कॉर्पोरेट हाउसेज हैं, जो बिजनेसेस हैं, अब उनको इससे बहुत फायदा हो रहा है। प्रेजेंटली फिश प्रोडक्शन फ्रॉम इनलैंड सोर्सेज कंट्रीब्यूट्स अबाउट 49% टू द टोटल फिश प्रोडक्शन। बैलेंस 51 कम्स फ्रॉम द मरीन सेक्टर। ये इनलैंड सोर्सेज क्या है और ये मरीन सेक्टर क्या है? इनलैंड सोर्सेज का मतलब होता है गाइस कि जो घिरे हुए हैं पथरीले इलाकों से, नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट, मींस मरीन सेक्टर के अंदर आ जाते हैं सी एंड ओशियंस। इनलैंड के अंदर छोटे मोटे पाउंड्स हो गए या छोटी रिवर्स हो गई, वहां से लगभग हम 49% अपना फिशरी डिपार्टमेंट चलाते हैं। 51% आज भी हमारा कहां से? सी एंड ओशन से ही चलता है, वहां से हमारी बहुत सारी मछलियां आती हैं। देन टुडे फिश प्रोडक्शन अकाउंट्स फॉर 1.4% ऑफ द टोटल जीडीपी। Among states, Kerala, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu are the major producers of the marine products. तो जैसा कि मैंने पहले ही बोल दिया था कि ये साउथ इंडिया में ज्यादा पॉपुलर है, स्पेशली ऐसे एरियाज जो कोस्टल एरियाज के आसपास, जहां पर आपको दिखेगा कि वो स्टेट टच करती है किसी ना किसी सी को या ओशन को, तो वहां पर हमें ये वाला बिजनेस बहुत बड़े स्केल पे दिखाई देता है। इंक्रीजिंग अंडर एम्प्लॉयमेंट, ये भी एक बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है। लो पर कैपिटा इनकम, एब्सेंस ऑफ मोबिलिटी ऑफ लेबर, to the sectors and a high rate of illiteracy and indebtedness are some of the major problems fishing community face today. तो फिशिंग इस इंडस्ट्री में भी अंडर एम्प्लॉयमेंट बहुत ज्यादा है. अंडर एम्प्लॉयमेंट क्या होती है? ये एक पुरानी टर्म है गाइस जो हमने बेसिक में काफी बार पढ़ी है. अगर आप लोग भूल रहे हो तो अंडर एम्प्लॉयमेंट इज अ स्टेट वेयर एन इंडिविजुअल इज नॉट गेटिंग एज पर हिज टैलेंट, नॉलेज, एबिलिटी एक्सेट्रा. कि उसके पास नॉलेज, टैलेंट ये सब एक्स्ट्रा है लेकिन उतना वो अर्न नहीं कर पा रहा, जिसकी वजह से अगेन लो पर कैपिटा इनकम है इस इंडस्ट्री में. जो फिशरमैन है उनकी एब्सेंस ऑफ मोबिलिटी ऑफ लेबर टू दी सेक्टर, बहुत ज्यादा इलिटरेसी भी देखी जाती है. इंडेपेंडेंस भी कि कर्जे में डूबे हुए हैं वो भी देखा जाता है. ये आज भी बहुत बड़े लेवल पर प्रॉब्लम कंसीडर की जाती है. फाइन. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट है गाइस हॉर्टिकल्चर, लेकिन हम इस पॉइंट को कैप्चर करेंगे हमारी नेक्स्ट वीडियो में. फाइन. एंड वही कि इन द नेक्स्ट वीडियो हमारे वाला चैप्टर प्रॉपर फिनिश भी हो जाएगा. सो टिल देन गाइस, आपने इस वीडियो में भी काफी कुछ नया देखा, नॉन फार्म एक्टिविटीज के बारे में पढ़ा. आई अर्ज माई ऑल द व्यूअर्स, स्पेशली हमारे क्लास 11th के जो छोटे स्टूडेंट्स हैं उनके लिए आप जाएं, गूगल करें और इंडिया में दूसरी और पॉपुलर नॉन फार्म एक्टिविटीज क्या है उनके बारे में पता करें. कि रूरल एरियाज में रहने वाले जो फार्मर्स हैं उनको अगर आपको सजेस्ट करना हो कि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया आपकी ड्यूटी दे कि आपको सजेस्ट करना है फार्मर्स को कि आप फार्मिंग छोड़ के कौन सा दूसरा काम कर सकते हैं, तो आप उन्हें क्या क्या सजेशंस दोगे. तो इसके ऊपर आप गूगल करें और इंफॉर्मेशन कलेक्ट करें कि इंडिया में और कौन से दूसरे बिजनेसेस हैं जो रूरल एरियाज में पॉपुलर हो रहे हैं या फिर फार्मर्स जिनकी तरफ अब ज्यादा अट्रैक्ट होकर वहां पर शिफ्ट हो रहे हैं. फाइन. सो तब तक के लिए इस चैप्टर को रिवाइज करें, अच्छे से पढ़ाई करें. टेक केयर ऑफ योर सेल्फ एंड यस, स्टडी हार्ड. कैच यू सून इन द नेक्स्ट वीडियो. टिल देन, बाय बाय.